The storm rolled in like a freight train, snow slamming against the mountainside, wind howling through the trees. Inside a tiny wooden cabin, Daniel Cooper, a single dad and Marine veteran, was trying to make the night feel normal for his 9-year-old daughter, Sophie. He had just set 2 steaming mugs of cocoa on the table when headlights cut through the blizzard outside. One. Then another. Then 20 motorcycles crunched up his icy driveway, their engines silenced one by one. When the knock finally came, Daniel opened the door to find 20 leather-clad bikers, faces rough, hands trembling from the cold. Most people would slammed the door. But Daniel didn't open the door. The leader, a scarred man with frost in his beard, cleared his throat. "Sir, the roads are shut down. We don't mean trouble. We just need somewhere to get warm before someone freezes to death out here." Daniel glanced back at Sophie. She was peeking from behind the kitchen counter, eyes wide. Every instinct told him this was dangerous. But another voice, the one shaped by years of service overseas, reminded him that strangers had once sheltered him when he needed it most. He opened the door wider. "Come in. All of you. But keep it respectful. My daughter's here." The men filed in, stomping snow from their boots, awkward in the warmth of a family's home. Sophie clutched Daniel's sleeve. "Daddy, they look scary." Daniel bent down and whispered, "Sometimes the people who look the scariest are the ones who need kindness the most." Quiet respect. The cabin filled with steam from boiling soup and the crackle of the fireplace. Daniel handed out every blanket he owned, while Sophie shyly offered a plate of cookies she baked earlier. The bikers softened. One, covered in tattoos, crouched down and colored in Sophie's book with her. Another fixed a loose hinge on the cabin's front door without being asked. As the night stretched on, stories began to spill. The men weren't criminals, at least, not tonight. They were just lost souls riding through the storm, cut off from shelter. One of them pointed to a framed photo on the mantel. Daniel in uniform, arms slung around his platoon brothers. "You served?" the biker asked. "Yeah. Iraq. 2004, Daniel said. "But now my mission's just being her dad." There was a long silence. Then a quiet, almost reverent nod. For the first time all night, Daniel realized they respected him. By dawn, the storm had cleared. The bikers, now arrested and fed, stood at the door. Their leader turned back. "You didn't owe us anything. But you gave us warmth when we had nothing. We won't forget this." Daniel shrugged. Kindness doesn't need a reason. They roared off into the distance. Daniel thought that was the end of it. He was wrong. Shook the cabin. That evening, just as Sophie was finishing her homework, the ground began to tremble. At first, Daniel thought it was thunder, but then came the roar, hundreds of motorcycle engines, echoing through the forest. He stepped outside. Headlights lit up the trees in every direction. Not 20 this time. 500. A sea of leather jackets, chrome, and patches. Sophie gripped his arm. "Daddy, are we in trouble?" Daniel's heart pounded. He had sheltered 20 men. But now, 500 Hell's Angels surrounded his cabin. The crowd parted. From the front, the scarred leader he sheltered the night before stepped forward, raising his hand for silence. "This man," he shouted, voice carrying over the roar of engines, "took in 20 of ours last night. He fed us. He sheltered us. He let us sit by his fire when the world shut its door." He turned, pointing at Daniel. In a world where people judge us, fear us, cross the street to avoid us, this man saw us as human. From this day forward, this cabin, this father, and this little girl are under our protection. The forest erupted in a thunderous cheer. 500 fists raised high, not in threat, but in salute. Daniel stood frozen, overwhelmed. He hadn't given them much. Just soup, blankets, and a roof. But somehow, it had rippled into something far bigger than he could have imagined. Sophie looked up at him, her voice small but steady. "Daddy, you always said kindness comes back to us. Is this what you meant?" Daniel knelt beside her, eyes wet. "Yeah, sweetheart. This is exactly what I meant." For years, he carried the weight of war, the struggles of single fatherhood, the quiet belief that no one saw his sacrifices. And yet here he stood, surrounded by 500 men who now carried high. The Hells Angels didn't linger long. With one last roar of their engines, they disappeared into the night, leaving the cabin quiet again. But something had changed. Daniel realized something profound: kindness never dies. It doesn't vanish with the storm. It multiplies, echoing outward in ways we can't predict. Sometimes, the smallest act, sharing food, offering warmth, opening your door, can create a ripple strong enough to shake the world. And in that cabin, on that snowy mountain, a single dad and his little girl discovered that even the hardest hearts can be melted by something as simple as compassion. Because in the end, true strength isn't in how tough you look or how many stand behind you. It's in how willing you are to open your door and let someone in.